Namaste and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm here with a very close friend and colleague of mine, Dr. Dharmesh Mehta, joining us from Mumbai. Namaste, Dr. Dharmesh.
Namaste, Kṣaṇāti. All well?
Yes, all is well, and just so excited to dive back into our series. For the viewers who have been joining us before, we've been going through all of the graha in each of the different houses and signs. We did Sun, we did Saturn, we did Ketu, and we're going to discuss Rahu today. And I know everyone is excited about understanding more about how Rahu will affect their karma in the 12 houses and 12 signs. And Dr. Dharmesh and I always have a comprehensive explanation on these different areas. So we look forward to covering that for all of you. And I'm just so excited, as I'm sure you are too, Dr. Dharmesh.
Yes, I do. Yeah, so let's begin with the series.
Okay, great. So let's first discuss Rahu Ascendancy. Now, if Rahu is in the ascendant, that is one of Rahu's strongest positions. It influences dharma, personality, and karmic circumstances in the native's life. And Rahu ascendants, they are often born in a land which is distant from the land of their ancestors. That means they're born somewhere, but their ancestors can be from different place, can be from different land. That and Rahu is also an outcast. Therefore, all Rahu ascendant, they carry this outcast dharma or outcast vibration, meaning their purpose in life may fall outside of society's traditional box. Now, whenever Rahu is placed in a Kendra, that means the first house, the fourth house, the seventh house, the 10th house. When we're looking at a North Indian chart, we're looking at the inner diamond. Whenever Rahu is placed in a Kendra, it activates the Kundalini axis for the native. And this means that they are a potential channel or vessel of energy which travels through them. This Kundalini activation also indicates intuitive gifts and abilities. However, due to Rahu's sometimes difficult influence, one's intuitive gifts are useless when applied to the self, but are strongest when applied to others. In other words, the intuition of the Rahu ascendancy, it's not very strong for one's own intuition about one's own life, but is very good about the intuition in seeing about society and the lives of others and the world in general. So it's a very unique type of intuition. Rahu in the ascendant will go through many difficult circumstances in the life to find their dharma. And I call this the hard knock life. There's an old song, it's a hard knock life for us. So that's what I think of when I think of a Rahu ascendancy. And in the long journey for a Rahu ascendant to find his dharma, which could relate to career, family, wealth, and spirituality, they must experience many contrary or difficult experiences. Very often in the life of a Rahu ascendant, they'll work many jobs, many hobbies, and study many things which may not relate to their ultimate dharma or to their ultimate purpose. However, through these experiences, the Rahu ascendant is led directly to their most fulfilling purpose, their most mystical hobby, their most important resonant area of study, and in cases of a mature Rahu ascendancy, they are very serious and austere individual. A Rahu ascendant has a deep soul bucket list, which is all the unfulfilled karma from the past lifetime. And so the bucket list often relates to these insatiable, which means hard to satisfy desires in areas of work, relationship, fame, power, success, recognition, wealth, maybe children. And this bucket list also includes a desire to travel and experience foreign countries and experience foreign cultures and experience foreign religion. And an evolved, mature, or well-placed Rahu ascendant has qualities that get them what they want, such as intuition, charm, charisma, they are non-judgmental, they are wise, they are well experienced, they are attractive, they have mystical power, they have occult knowledge, and they have metaphysical power. Sometimes they can even have siddhis, spiritual abilities. But an unevolved, immature, or poorly placed Rahu ascendant are generally egomaniac and almost to the severity of megalomania, which is a disease where you think the whole world revolves around you. And they are deceptive. They can have ulterior motives. They can only be concerned with material success and power. And they can be inclined towards gambling, drugs, alcohol, and also like the rush of the adrenaline. So those both sides, the positive, well-placed Rahu ascendancy, and then if it's not in such a comfortable position, what it can do in a challenging. And I look forward to what you have to share as well, Dr. Dharmesh. I hope that was interesting for our viewers to discuss Rahu's
Yes.
placement in the Lagnesh.
Yes. So almost, Kṣaṇāti, you have described the entire thing about the Rahu, and very interesting and in a very comprehensive way you explained. The first, the birth of Rahu, if we understand, then we understand the journey of Rahu. So we all know that dissatisfaction has created the Rahu. Not believing own self is also created by the Rahu. So when Rahu is in the ascendant, means his chakra, his life, his birth has taken because of some dissatisfaction from the past life. So whatever the things, see, that is two things about the Rahu and Ketu. Rahu is very receptive and Ketu is a reflective. So it is a very unique combination about the Rahu and Ketu. Rahu absorb everything and reflect like anything. So that is why we call Rahu as a reflection. It's like reflecting the things which are not in existence, because we all know it's a shadow of earth and the moon when it is on the Amavasya no moon day or the full moon day. So because of this shadow effect, the Rahu is creating the dissatisfaction, or it is creating the dryness. And when you have so many deeds pending with the so many people, you will born with the Rahu in the ascendant, because you have to pay so many things to so many people. The best thing about the Ketu that we have already explained in the earlier video, that when Ketu is in ascendant, you will not recognize who has done good for you, who has not done good for you, because Ketu is ultimately a dry. But here Rahu, being a manifestation, it manifested many-fold. So here, instead of creating a good deeds with others, they are creating so many deeds. They are creating so many multiple deeds, and that's create them dissatisfaction. When you interact with person first time, you're a little bit scared, you're a little bit curiosity also. But the Rahu people in the ascendant, those having a Rahu in the ascendant, they don't scare. They directly approach you, they directly show certain things which has not existed, and people also come into the talk of that people. So that's a miracle, that's a uniqueness also, you can say that is created by the Rahu. Fully it is owning the house. When Rahu own the house, when Rahu is with the planet, it doesn't allow other planet or the signing lord to say anything. So he act himself as that representative, and he pretend him as a Mercury. He pretend him as a Jupiter. He pretend all the planet, we know all the planet are being conversed with the sun, whereas sun combines with the Rahu. So Rahu also create the shadow by which we are not able to see the sunlight. So that powerful Rahu is. Rahu is our curiosity. Rahu is so hidden things. As you mentioned that Rahu's best position in the first house is good. But on the other side, the people are unpredictable. You have to think twice. And in my marriage video also, series of marriage video, I say when the people having Rahu and Ketu in ascendant, always help them, because they might be misguided, they might be having so many energies that could not be controlled by himself.
Mm.
So either we consider as a Aries, suppose in the first house, and we think about the Aries. So in Aries also, the first nakshatra is Ketu itself. where the Rahu has a more say. Then second nakshatras are Venus, where also the Rahu has a good say. Only the part of a Kritika, where the sun is ruling, where the Rahu has a very little say. So there the Rahu is not able to give the right result what the person should get. So only in the Kritika part it's not working. Otherwise, it is a very unique place for the Rahu to sit in the Ketu nakshatra or the Venus nakshatra, both having a very good relation with the Rahu. So with this, I also sum up that the Rahu in the first house is difficult to identify person, its quality. As you mentioned, it might be a multi-talent, or maybe he pretend him. Sometimes what happened, the person knowing so many language, 8, 9, 10, 20 languages, and he speaks fluently. So you cannot access that whether this person belongs to which caste, community, or which religion, or which country. So that kind of illusion can be created by the Rahu in the first house. So overall, it is said a good because you have so much energy filled with the one house, or it is bad when you are pretending something which you are not. So it's a both the side is alarming, and in Aries, I believe it is a good place to sit because Aries is the beginning of a sign, beginning of a life, beginning of a nakshatra, and Rahu being in that house, so it will start a new chapter in the life. So both the way, the Rahu in the Aries is a very unique, and Rahu in the first house also unique. Only thing people have to understand their capacity. That's a major part where the person have to hold and understand their own potential qualities. Then they will not be misunderstood. So we can move further to the second house.
Yes, yes, and I really like how you discuss the position in the various nakshatras and how that relates with the Rahu. Because again, as you mentioned, you have Ashwini and Bharani there, where Rahu does
Yeah,
very well, but on the sun side of Kritika, the Rahu sun
yeah,
enemy relationship really gets activated, and that could be very
yeah,
malefic. Now, we discussed Rahu in the first house and a little bit about Rahu and Aries, which we're also going to share with the viewer, as Dr. Dharmesh mentioned. Rahu Aries is ruled by Mars, and Rahu and Mars are enemy. And so Rahu can do poor sometimes when it's in Mars sign or conjunction with the Mars. Rahu and Aries people are determined, they're courageous, they are fierce, they are full of energy and excitement, and they are focused on getting what they want, but they're not sure how to get it. I thought that was a funny way to put it. They are focused on
mm,
getting what they want, but they're not sure how to get it. And they're
mm,
full of desire. And the Rahu and Aries
mm,
native keeps trotting on, treading on to fulfill their material or spiritual desires, depending on how spiritual they are. And a Rahu and Aries native often has many speculative goals around their future and the manifestation of love, career, health, enlightenment. In other words,
mm,
Rahu in Aries thinks, I will get married at this age. I will have a successful career at this age. They speculate. They think about the future in this way. And they put the energy towards these speculative goals and often find themselves in difficult situations or circumstances that help them teach them what their goals should really be. In other words, they have too materialistic goal. And then through difficult circumstances, Rahu teaches them importance of spirituality in the life. And a mature Rahu Aries native, they will be bold, they will be focused, they will remain disciplined on their path to their goals, whether material or spiritual, and they will be model of excellence for good use of physical energy from Mars and can become great masters of yoga as well as the medical science of Ayurveda. As we know, Mars has to do with medicine as well, and we have the Ashwini Nakshatra. An immature Rahu and Aries native, they will be arrogant, they can be condescending, they can be rude, they can be a narcissist, and they can remain focused on their own selfish goals constantly. They will be focused on goals related to Maya, which is the great illusion. So they will obtain what they are seeking, but it comes with karmic debt and unnecessary suffering because what they are seeking is outside of their dharma. So again, sometimes we have a mature manifestation of this position and we have the immature manifestation of this position. Of course, depending on nakshatra, aspects, and other things like this. So I would love to hear any other thoughts you have on Rahu and Aries as well, before we move on to the second house, Dr. Dharmesh.
No, that's you have beautifully covered. So we can move to the second.
Okay, great. Rahu in the second house of wealth can do very well, because the second house is associated with the second sign of Taurus, where some say Rahu is exalted. And Rahu in the second house is aiming to achieve Artha Bhava, which represents the fulfillment of individual power and supports the native to have karma, establishing financial security for their self and financial security for their family, which allows for a very non-traditional manifestation of the value of money and importance of money in the life. So sometimes people with Rahu in the second house, they think very differently about money. They don't have same perspective on money that the average person have. They can have unique outsider perspective of money. And I will talk more about what I mean by this. That means they only desire money insofar as the experiences that the money can provide them or their family. So money isn't valuable in itself, but it's only valuable in the experiences it can provide. And they falter towards materialism because the second house is an Artha Bhava house. But ultimately, Rahu in the second house karma shows a means to fulfill your karma, to gain money to help fulfill your karma versus to gain money for money alone. So money is to be used as a tool to help complete your karma, but money is not the goal for itself. The natives also have a unique or unusual relationship with their family and food. Their family can be eccentric and full of large and unique personalities. When it comes to the food, they will have very particular likes and dislikes and develop a strong love of food throughout their life. But some people with Rahu in the second house have very strange tastes. That means they like the lobster, they like the octopus, they like all the strange tasting foods that other people say, I can't eat raw clam, I can't eat raw oyster, but the Rahu in the second house love this. So a mature Rahu in the second house native knows how to save the money. They know that money is the means for experiences, health, and the wellness of their family. So they develop alternative ways of making money using technology and other alternative routes such as the occult, mystical, or esoteric. So they could be an Ayurveda, Jyotish, Vastu. And they also have a very close relationship with their family and accept the unusualness of their family with great devotion. And they will also, because of the connection with food, they can be master chefs. They can be very creative in the kitchen, and they like to cook, and they in very good cooking. But an immature Rahu in the second house, if it's in a difficult placement, they cannot hold on to money at all. And whatever money they have, they'll spend it right away, as quick as possible. And they will be wealth hungry. They will be power hungry. And they can be confused in the sense that they think that money is the purpose of life. And they can put their material desires above their family or health instead of appreciating their family. So they think money is more important than family. They can be repulsed or embarrassed by their strange family. So they can also sometimes think their family is too strange for them. And so therefore at times they can have a strained or distant relationship with their family. And then also because of the relationship with food, if it's a poor placement in the second house, they can have poor eating habit, poor diet. They can eat lots of junk food, eat lots of meat, and have lots of craving. And even because house of mouth, Rahu in second house could be smoker as well. So these are all indicative potentials of both the positive manifestation and difficult manifestation of Rahu in the second house. And I am very much looking forward to Dharmesh Bhai's insights as well.
Yeah, that's a very interesting about the Rahu. What we think, it's just ahead of the Rahu. So we can't think beyond the Rahu what it can create. Now here in the second house, when Rahu is seated, I often seen that person have an option. On getting off of one, he has to sacrifice or compromise the other. And I've seen that the people who choose the money, they lose the relationship because you are creeping. See, in first house, you have no choice of two things. It's all about your life. So you have no choice to stay with your life. But in second house, you have a two extreme pole in that house. Either a money, wealth, materialistic life, or the social life, or the family life. So two extreme. See, one of my daily or inter-day I say, one time, one result. So with this rule, the Rahu in the second house, if you able to concentrate about the family, you'll not able to get the money. If you are choosing that you will be staying with the family, you'll be socially very well attached with the family, you'll not able to earn the money, and your family member will use your money and your power. But if you choose that you want to earn the money, see, that depends on the dispositor of a second house, that what choice it will give you. If it is a Jupiter, obviously you will be more into the social aspect and not on the material side. Whereas Mars, Venus, they are all are materialistic. I have just now recently done the materialistic, realistic planets. So if your materialistic planets are there, obviously you will turn towards the material aspect of this house, and everything from your mouth to your action, to your deeds connected with the money. If you are materialistic, if you are joined the materialistic part, because it's a speech, you start speaking about the money. You give the more importance to the money oriented people, or from whom you want the money. So that second house, Rahu is creating such a things that either it will give you inclination towards the materialistic, highly money minded, or otherwise it will give you a social total devotion to the social life. And I have seen that so many people having a second house Rahu, they spoil everything about their life, even their education, even their personal life, marriage, for the sake of a family. So it is not that it's only being a side of a materialistic only this, but this is the things, maybe because of his harsh language, maybe because it's a house of language, is a house of your uh, uh, what we say is your samskara. So when Rahu is here, you will not know how to speak, where to speak, and what to speak, and because of which you may be spoiling your relationship. So you are a good caretaker, you are good caretaker, and you believe that you are doing good for the family, but because of your tongue, because of your speech, you are spoiling everything. You may find teeth also, uneven teeth also, and they have always a teeth problem, or they chew something in the mouth, and maybe, as you said, that they might be a drug pill, or they might be taking a liquor or any addiction. So that also happens, Rahu, because Rahu doesn't know the taste also. Yeah, the matter of taste is, as you say, that they can eat anything. Yeah, they can at least even eat a stone also. They can eat anything. So they are, you can't say they are vegetarian, non-vegetarian, what they are. They can eat anything. And why they are tasting everything? Because they are not taking the real taste. If you like certain things, then you follow that pattern of food only because you like it. Here there is no understanding of a taste, so he always confused. I also think because the rheumatism is one of a disease by the Rahu, so they might be eating some old food, junk food, because of what, their stomach is full with the gas, and due to this gas they are facing the rheumatism everywhere the body. There is a lot of pain and rheumatism they may be facing, joint pain, everything. So that's about food habits, that is Rahu is not clear. Teeth also it is not clear. Financially, that happens, they multiple the money, they do multiplication of money very fast, but their money will be used by someone else, because Rahu is atrupt. We call as it's a undesired. They cannot enjoy their own things, so their money is also being used by someone else. So they are not able to utilize their own money. Their money might be lying in the bank, or they may be lending to someone, and those people who are using their money. So this also happens when the Rahu in second house. And about the relation, I say that they are very good in the relationship, but due to their tongue, due to their wording, due to their sentence commitment by way of a sentence, they are not fulfilling their sentence. So relationship also being spoiled. And talking about the Taurus, because I believe Gemini is the exalted sign for the Rahu, where its own nakshatra is placed. Here we see that it is a Sun nakshatra Kritika, Rohini Moon Nakshatra, and the Mars Nakshatra Magashirsha, which all the three planets are the bitter enemy for the Rahu. It's a bitter enemy. Only support of the covering Venus, because of the Venus who cover the outer shell of a Taurus sign, because internally there is a Sun, Moon, and Mars, not supporting Rahu. But Rahu only want one supporter. If he get a one supporter like a Venus, he got a support from the Venus, he will exploit that house. So those having the Rahu in the Taurus sign, they are also a person of a habit, person of a luxury, comfort, and not thinking about what will be going to happen even in evening. Forget about the tomorrow, but what will going to happen in the evening, they are not bother about it, and they relax, they enjoy for the moment, and not thinking that what will be the effect, impact on their life in the future. So Taurus, Rahu being gets covered and support or spoil. I rather say spoiled by the Venus. The Rahu got spoiled by the Venus, and Venus is a one thing, is a continuous provider. Is a continuous service provider. Sometimes I say Venus is a continuous service provider, because all the your glands in the body is with the Venus. All the glands. And when Rahu joined with the Venus, or Rahu is sitting in the sign of a Venus, more powerful is a Libra. Libra is a more powerful for the Rahu to sit as a Venus is also got a more power. But even though in that Taurus sign also, if a Rahu is there, it will spoil your inner all the glands. So one after another, you are spoiling your glands, and that will imbalance your health and immunity system. So being very luxury, very high standard life, people spoil their life at a later age. That realization will never been come to the Rahu, as we all know that Rahu has all five indriyas. See, all the human being have a five indriyas, but majority of our indriyas lies with this our portion. All these indriyas are there in uh, uh, the 10 each, and rest of the body doesn't have a sense. They act upon the sense, and we know the later part is a Ketu and upper part is a Rahu. So all these senses, all five senses, is in the zip format in the Rahu, because it is in the zip format, and it has no space to unzip in the body, because Rahu doesn't contain the lower part of the body, so they can see, they can feel, but they cannot enjoy, because enjoyment is the lower part of the body where the person can enjoy. So these are the certain negative aspect of the Rahu. So the Rahu in the second house, they should focus one thing at the time. They will not able to get the money and family relation together, and by expecting both together, they spoil what they get. So that's the main reason where the Rahu is not been advised in the second house, because it's also somewhere disconnect you from the family, because the Ketu in the eighth house, and eighth house we know that is the inheritance, what the family gives you, and the reward of the efforts you have put to the family. So there also it will dry up. So this is a main negative aspect of the Rahu in the second house. And Taurus, we have already spoke about it. So we can proceed about the Gemini sign, which is a very beautiful sign, as well as third house, which is also a very, very favorable house. I seen that out of the 12th house, Rahu is very favorable, first to the third house, then to the 11th house, then to the 10th house, and then to the 6th house. So it's a sequence of favorable house is a 3, 11, 10, and 6. These are the sequence where the Rahu got more hierarchy wise of power. So let us begin with the Rahu in third house and the Gemini.
Of course, I look forward to discussing that, and that was very deep insight of Rahu in second house and Rahu and Taurus. A few things I wanted to share about Rahu and Taurus, and as Dr. Dharmesh mentioned, he believes exaltation falls on Gemini Sagittarius axis, and we had a summit in about a couple years ago where we discussed this exaltation of Rahu, and there are so many different opinions about it. And many astrologers get very passionate about their opinion about exaltation, debilitation, Mula Trikona, natural sign of Rahu and Ketu. And that is really not what we are to focus on today. But some believe that Rahu is exalted in Taurus. Some believe that Rahu is exalted in the Gemini. And part of the reason that they believe that Rahu is exalted in Taurus is because of the material potential. Now, an exalted Rahu is not always a good thing if it is not in a well position in the chart. That means exalted, this Rahu and Taurus native have deep karma in their lifetime to experience material success, and maybe they can become famous. Like the singer Amy Winehouse was a Rahu Taurus ascendancy. So a well-positioned Rahu and Taurus native often are born into great wealth and have very little financial worry or concern throughout their lifetime. They will be magnetic in their nature, and they will attract attention and energy wherever they go, especially from the opposite sex. In other words, the opposite gender. They attract much energy from them. And as Taurus is ruled by Venus, as Dr. Dharmesh mentioned, can be overexcited. It isn't always the best position for romantic or marital success because of the interaction of Venus and Rahu. It can create multiple marriages or troublesome relationship. And it can be, which means you can be successful, more successful in a polyamorous or open relationship. And this is something more common in America now, but now people have many boyfriend, many girlfriend, and this is more of a Rahu and Taurus vibration. And these natives, I say they are born with stars in their eyes, which means they want to become famous, successful, and they want the world to see them. So a mature Rahu and Taurus person is wealthy but humble, and they will use money towards service and charity to fulfill their deeds. And they will use their influence to make great positive changes in the world and society, and possibly even politics. They will have a deep knowledge of the mystical and the occult. It will also be established in the society. But their wisdom can be outside of the society. So they can be active in society, but also have wisdom outside of it. So it could be like a businessman who loved the Jyotish. So an immature Rahu and Taurus native will be extremely wealthy, and they will use money as manipulation tool to get what they want. And they will abuse their positions of power and prestige to take advantage when opportunity arises. They're also vulnerable towards addiction, like alcoholism and opiate, like opium and the heroin. And they will be power hungry. They can wish to have their name remembered for all of time. They will be concerned with material goals. Unless, of course, they can use the occult mystical energy for material growth as well. And sometimes that could be a nice remedy for exalted Rahu or a Rahu and Taurus position. Since, if you want to know my personal opinion, I think Rahu and Ketu as the nodes don't have planetary dignity the same way that the other 7 planets do. So the other 7 planets, exaltation means 100% auspicious effect. But there is no such thing as 100% auspicious effect of Rahu, 100% auspicious effect of Ketu. So we can never really say they are completely exalted. So that's all about Rahu and Taurus. Now, as far as Rahu in third house, Rahu in the third house because of Gemini is one of strongest positions. He mentioned 3, 6, 10, 11. And because of third house, the Upachaya house, it's self-improvement or evolution or self-help. Rahu, a planet which prefers to not mature. Rahu does not like to mature unless Rahu is pushed to mature. And the third house pushed Rahu to mature. So it empowers Rahu in the third house position, which forces Rahu to work on himself, look in the mirror, therefore helps the person mature their relationship with Rahu. So it's a good growth position for Rahu. And these individuals will often have priorities or intentions which fall outside the general realm of what society says is important. So they may be more inclined towards metaphysical things about life and less inclined towards material. And the energy of Rahu being forced to grow in the third house creates what I call dynamic tension. And this is heavy karma. And although from an academic perspective, we talk about Rahu in the third house position is good, it also creates what I say make or break situation for the person. So that means if the person overcomes their dynamic tension, Rahu placement in third house through maturity, self-growth, and they reprioritize their intentions, and through this they can achieve great fortune and success. But if the person is broken by this dynamic tension, they can become victimized in their mentality. That means they can say, poor me. And this can lead also to potential mental illness. It can lead to addiction. So it's a question of, yes, it's a great position for growth of the Rahu, but will they grow or will that growth break them? And so Rahu in the third house gives unique, also communicative abilities and the potential to learn and speak many languages, which we have discussed with Rahu's other positions, also a good position for Rahu in the learning of language. Now, a mature Rahu, a well-placed Rahu in the third house gives very charismatic communication. So they have lots of charisma and they are intelligent and they have good morality. And they love to lead by example. And they are always focused on what they can do next to grow, what they can do next to evolve, what they can do next to better themselves. And actually, a good position Rahu in the third house is good at constructive criticism. This is really important because a poor position in the Rahu in the third house cannot take any criticism. But a good position of Rahu in the third house takes criticism and says, I'm going to use this criticism and I'm going to make myself better because of it. I'm not going to take it as personal. So that means the immature Rahu in the third house position, they can have speech problem or impediment. They may lack confidence in their speaking or writing abilities. And they are not as concerned with the self-growth and are actually quite repelled by the idea of it. So poor position of if someone has a undignified Rahu or a poorly aspected Rahu in the third house, they can not want to grow, depending on the depositor. And they do not take constructive criticism. They do not take that constructive criticism. They will take it as a personal attack themselves. So you give them criticism, but they say, why do you not like me? Why are you not my friend? When you're just trying to give them good criticism. So again, this is whether we have mature and evolved Rahu in third house or immature Rahu in third house. But generally speaking, I like the positionship of Rahu in the third house. And I look forward to seeing what Dr. Dharmesh has to say on this topic.
Yeah, that's third house, as I already said, that the third house Rahu is a very powerful position for the Rahu, because normally this is a Upachaya Bhava. Upachaya itself says what you want to make it. Don't wait for anything. Means you don't have to depend on anything, just what you wish, you can make it. And that is the beauty of the Rahu. The birth of Rahu is also made because he wished to do something and that has not been happened. And because of this, now we are facing the problem of a Rahu. So the house itself, house is nothing but the container. So container itself is allowing the planet itself to do whatever they wish. Is this not a right place for the Rahu to do something? So that is why I like that Rahu best position is the third house, because Rahu has a courage, and this is ultimately the house of courage. So whatever the courage you have a talent to show your courage. So that is also a very unique thing about the third house. Rahu doesn't like to settle in the one place. And that is why we always see that the Rahu in third house, fourth house, they always travel. They always migrate from place to place. In their life, how many places they visited, even they don't also know. So being a traveling house, a short distance traveling house, the Rahu like to travel, because while traveling you learn lot of things. You have to adjust so many culture, you have to adjust with the language. As you say, there's a house of a communication. Rahu like to interpret. Rahu is a very good interpreter. You know, the one knows the English and one knows the French. They don't know each other language, so there is a mediator, there is a translator who make understand the English people to French and French people to English. This work is done by the Rahu. So he's a very good translator. And due to the good ability of a communication to make you understand perfectly, this is a great role Rahu plays in the third house. So we have spoke about the third house, about the its position for the courage. We have seen the courage. Then short distance traveling also, we have seen that it's very comfortable with the short distance traveling. We have seen that he's a very good a communicator. So all this quality Rahu likes it here. So that is why it is more comfortable. And above all, this is a house where you connect with the world. It's a house of a connector with the world. So you connect here with the world. And Rahu is a technology. We all know this all today's fiber optics is due to the Rahu. Wire, when you use a wire, it is called a Mars technology. It's a electric or electronic, electric and electronic. Whereas when you see that's a fiber optic, internet, networking, this all are the Rahu. And because of this, nowadays people are captured under this Rahu. And this is a highest technology the people have. When the Rahu is good in your chart, you are good in the social media, you are good in the networking, you are good in the social media. So these all are also good qualities which being inherited in the Rahu in the third house. They are the people who find an alternate way of a communication. See, like a brain lippy, that is also Rahu. When you are not able to read with your eyes, or there's a brain lippy, that's also Rahu, a way of communication. A mediator, as I told you, that mediator is also come under the Rahu. Translator, he's also come under the Rahu. So these are the unique qualities the Rahu is having, and this house has a potential to give the growth to such a planet. So with this, the Rahu is very comfortable and very enjoyable. Only thing is that they always feel the competition with their siblings. This is a house of siblings, so they always feel that I should be superior. Even he is not elder. Normally in our society, the elder son, elder brother are being respected. Here is a house of a younger brother. We all know that the third house is a younger. And Rahu in the third house means you might not have a younger siblings, and you are the last one. And due to the last one, you spoil. You being a more attention seeker of the house, because the elders has already been grown, and you, as you said, that the Rahu doesn't want to mature. So here the matter of a maturity comes, that he doesn't want to mature till he become 50, 55. Also the parents think that he's still young, he's still very small, why you are giving them trouble. So the with for this angle of a siblings, it's not considered good. He feel himself being inferior, he feel himself as being a competitor with the elders, and he will never meet with his elder brothers, and that's a dissatisfaction only is there. But still not considered bad here, it is always being considered good in this house. Taking apart from this house as a Gemini, Gemini, we all know it's a Mercury, and Mercury and Moon are the two outcome of a moon. Mercury and the Rahu both are the outcome of a moon. One is a conscious mind, that is Mercury, and one is a subconscious mind, that is a Rahu. So this is a combination of a conscious and subconscious mind, and because of this combination, the Rahu plays a very vital role in the Gemini, and that is why I like that it is big in the Gemini in any house. And now you see, now it is in the place of a what you said, it's in the place of the Gemini. Presently there is a Rahu is already in the Gemini, so this is a place where Rahu is giving its highest position. And we know that the technology and all these things are also growing like anything. So it's a time of courage, it's a time of innovation, it's a time of searching unconventional things. So what you think that manifested by the Rahu? When you have a Rahu in third house, think something unconventional thing, you have a potential to convert that into the reality. So that potential you have, and being a Gemini, being a favorable to the Mercury, it is a very much, because Rahu got exalted. We believe in the Gemini, and it's in the own sign in the Virgo. These are the two signs we believe. So here it is a more touch with the Mercury, so your logical mind have some focus, some ability of a subconscious mind also. So you can think of both the sides simultaneously. Is a situation I have seen that the situation of a Rahu in Gemini, you have a ability to go to the trance. This is also one of good qualities when the people having a Rahu in the Gemini. And this is a period, presently this period is going. Those who wish to go to the trance, this is the right time. And the favorable part of Rahu is inner Rahu also occupies in the Adra Nakshatra. In the Adra Nakshatra, the Rahu is a very well being supporting, is holding the Rahu as a planet or as a body to the inner Rahu. So your inner Rahu and outer Rahu being connected, and this is the best position to go to the trance. Those who are meditating, those who are into the field of spirituality, this is really a good time. So Gemini Rahu, those possess the Gemini Rahu, those presently being a 18, 36, 54 or 72 years, they are having a Rahu in the Gemini, and their Rahu has repeated to their natal Rahu. It's a Rahu return time for them. Good time to go to the certain area where it is unconventional place you can go. So this potential of a Rahu in the third house also, and Rahu in the Gemini also. So both the way Rahu being benefited. So I like the Rahu most position in the third house as being a superior house for the Rahu and can do better. So this is about my input about the third house. So you may also add something if you wish.
Excellent insight, Dr. Dharmesh, and thank you for expanding on Rahu's position in Gemini. You know, as
Yeah.
mentioned, this is one of the exaltation positions, and one of the that's considered by many astrologers. And one of the reasons it is considered exaltation position is because of that Ardra Nakshatra. So if you really want to get into the advanced Jyotish, we don't think of exaltation with Rahu Ketu in terms of Rashi, but we think of exaltation of Rahu and Ketu in terms of Nakshatra. So maybe Rahu can be exalted in Ardra. Maybe Rahu can be exalted in Swati. Maybe Rahu can be exalted in Satabhishak Nakshatra. Why? Because these are Rahu ruled Nakshatra. Now, this energy of Rahu in Gemini, it combines the innovative energy of Rahu with the intellectual and communicative energy of the Gemini. And so usually these natives are very influential and intelligent in their speech. But they are very quick talkers, and they like to talk a lot, and they don't always filter their speech. They don't always filter what they have to say. In other words, they can talk, but then they might say something that they don't actually want to say because they just keep talking. And this is a conjunction for an inventor, someone who wants to create a new twist or progression of an already well-established system or science. You know, I'll just mention this. Our colleague and friend, he shares his chart, so I know he'd be okay with it. Sam Jeppy Sadasiva, he's a Rahu Gemini ascendant. And he started his own school of Jyotish and is creating huge movement of Jyotish in the United States. And so this is part of this Rahu and Gemini energy. So I always appreciate that about my friend Sam. And it also gives good friendship energy, because the Gemini is very social sign. So the Rahu and Gemini native, they can be very social. They can have many friends.
Right.
So I say mature Rahu and Gemini, it's very intellectual, it's very innovative, it's creative, it's charismatic, good speaker, good writer, usually has great sense of humor and good wit, and is good at analyzing things. Immature Rahu and Gemini, which means if there's poor aspect or conjunction, or there are other difficult things that are taking away the good natural position of a Rahu and Gemini, they speak without filter or logical thinking. That means they can also think they're the best. As mentioned, this is the house of courage. So if it manifests in an immature way, they can think they're the best. They can be egotistical. They can think of themselves as intellectual superior, other people as intellectual inferior. So that's the positive manifestation and the negative manifestation of the Rahu and Gemini. And now we will move on to the fourth house, unless you would like to add anything, Dr. Dharmesh?
No, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Rahu in the fourth house, we'll later talk more about Rahu in sign of Cancer. And we know Rahu is strong enemies with the moon. And fourth house is natural house of moon, natural house of Cancer. So Rahu in fourth house, despite it being in the Kendra position, is a difficult position, even though Rahu is the placement in the Kendra, because it's the house of the home. It's the house of the mother. It's the house of the homeland. So usually people with Rahu in the fourth house, they can sometimes have very attached relationship with their mother, very unhealthy relationship with their mother, or they can just have a very difficult relationship with their mother. And also, because fourth house represent home, Rahu in the fourth house pushes the native to experience many different manifestations of what home is. So people with Rahu in the fourth house, they, as mentioned with Rahu Ascendancy, are often born in a location which is away from their ancestors, or at an early age, or during activation of Rahu return or Rahu Dasha, they move to foreign land, they work in other country, they get raised in other country, they raise their family in other country. So Rahu in the fourth house may also take us out of our homeland. But as we mentioned, that Rahu is the outcast. So it's the outcast in the land of the home. So we can always feel like an outsider with Rahu in the fourth house. You struggle with this outsider energy. And we also remember that the fourth house, although it is house of home, it also has moksha energy. So this is the first time Rahu enters a moksha bhava house. And because of the slight activation of the moksha bhava house of the Rahu in the fourth house, the Rahu in the fourth house always seeking to find a steady and stable home. But their circumstances in their life take them outside of the home, take them outside of the country, take them outside of the city. And also it can represent the family and the heart. And so they can have sometimes a difficult relationship with their family. They can have a difficult relationship in terms of their family being distant, or them not being supported properly by their family, which means because we have Ketu aspect on the 10th house if Rahu is in the fourth house. And that means that their career, it may be predetermined for them. Their family will like to select a career for them. The person with the Rahu in the fourth house will rebel and react against this vibration. And they will not, they will choose something opposite of whatever they are told to do. So because of Rahu in the fourth house, it's not one of the strongest positions of Rahu. We know that the moon is a natural significator. Jupiter does well in the fourth house, but Rahu is not one of the greatest planets to be in the fourth house It doesn't do as well in the Cancer sign. And also one of the things that you see about the fourth house, it has to do with your cars and your property. So people with Rahu in the fourth house, they can have different properties in foreign lands. They can work in the real estate. They can work with cars. They can work with travel. This is all things that are indicated because you're seeing a fourth house, 10th house aspect. So when Rahu is activating the fourth house, Ketu is activating the 10th house and vice versa. So you have those aspects that are being affected as well. But yeah, it's not everything difficult about Rahu in the fourth house, because sometimes Rahu in the fourth house indicates that people will be successful in the foreign land. When if they try to be successful in their homeland, they will be unsuccessful. If they go back to land of their ancestors and try to be successful there, it could be more difficult to be successful. When Rahu is in fourth house, more potential to be successful international, or at least working internationally. So you can live internationally or you can work internationally, but all of these energies are very positive and being supported by the Rahu in the fourth house position. So not everything is difficult about that. So a mature Rahu in the fourth house native, they truly love their home. They love their mother. And even though their mother might be crazy, they still love their mother. And even though their homeland might not be perfect, they still love their homeland. And they have this sense of patriotism. And they have this sense of being a also patriarch if they're become father or parent, or matriarch if they become mother. So there are these energies which are very strong, creating karma of Rahu in the fourth house, which centers around the home, centers around family. But if it's a difficult position, these people have unpredictable, erratic circumstances which relate to their living condition. So they're living in some place for a certain time, but then they get kicked out of that place, or they get a job opportunity in another place, so they move there, or they get in relationship with girlfriend and their girlfriend lives in another state or another country, another city, so they move away to live with the girlfriend, they move away to live with the boyfriend. So these are some of the energies you pick up of Rahu in the fourth house. When you look at Rahu in the Cancer position, it is not considered debilitation by many traditional astrologers. But I believe there is some debilitation factor here, because you have Rahu relating with moon, and Rahu creates eclipse upon the moon. So this is very malefic effect between Rahu and Cancer. And one of the things is that Cancer and the moon, it rules the emotion. And the fourth house also rules that inner emotional nature of the individual. And the Cancer also rules that emotional nature of the individual. So when you add Rahu into that, the person can be very fearful. That means they're emotionally very afraid. They can be very worried. They can be very nervous. They can be very anxious individual. I don't think my mother will mind me telling that she is a Rahu Cancer ascendant. And my mom, she worry about everything. She worry about her children all the time. She is very, very nervous sometimes. So this is natural energy of how Rahu relationship with fourth house, Rahu relationship with Cancer, Rahu relationship with moon. And also when Rahu is in Cancer, Cancer likes to show support and care to those that they love. But we know Rahu can sometimes take advantage of. So this means that even though Rahu and Cancer people, it is their karma to show so much love and care and support to people. Sometimes that love, care, and support is taken advantage of, which means people take advantage of Rahu and Cancer people. They take advantage of them romantically, they take advantage of them financially, and they are more vulnerable to be taken advantage of or to be manipulated for emotional reasons, because they just care. They want to help, they want to give, but they are giving, they're being manipulated, sometimes abused even by the person that they are giving to. So this is something that must be considered. So we discussed Rahu in fourth house. We discussed Rahu in Cancer, and I look forward to Dr. Dharmesh's discussion of these two positions as well.
Yeah, you elaborate so nicely, so it is very less remaining part to me. But something different aspect of the Rahu in the fourth house. Sometimes it happens that when you start eating a food, you'll find some hair in your food, some stone in your food, or sometimes you find something unusual thing in only your food when it was served to everyone, but it is only for your food. This is a Rahu in the fourth house. You have everything. You have all the matter of a pleasure, which gives the other people a great pleasure. You possess everything of every brand, everything. A luxurious car, a good education, a good house. You possess everything, but you want more. You are not satisfied. You are even not satisfied with your own place where you origin. People have a love and affection with their origin place, birthplace, because fourth house is mother and fourth house is a land. When we join two word, it is a motherland. See the Cancer sign, the natural Cancer sign is a mother earth. We call it as a mother earth. And Rahu is nothing but the poison. You know, certain period of a time when you eat certain vegetables, it contains the poison. In our religion, they believe that during this period, you should not eat the green vegetable, leafy vegetable. Why? Because it's containing the poison in it. When Rahu is considered as a poison, so it's nothing but having everything, not enjoying everything. This is the best solution for them is to keep themselves away from their birthplace. See, Rahu is a lot of west because we all know that moon, the highest degree is a west. So it is a good place to reside in the west. It's a good place to reside with the sea because sea is a Rahu. In my first video of a Rahu, I mentioned that the Rahu is nothing but the sea. Salty water, backwater, creek. These all are the place where the Rahu is there. You know, there's a Middle East is all owned by the Rahu, all the Middle East, because it's surrounded by the seas and this. So this all the western or west coast. The country having the west coast is also ruled by the Rahu only. So Rahu is a place where you can reside in the west. Everywhere, whenever the any chart comes to us in India, we always say go to west, then only you will rise, because Rahu is the west, because west is a direction. In the Vastu also it is considered the direction of Venus, which gives a lot of enjoyment. So here you are getting a lot of enjoyment also, which Rahu likes. And why he is not satisfied with the having everything in his life? Because of something more. He's holding the like car like a Mercedes, but he's thinking why I have Mercedes when others are driving the luxurious car. He's also having the branded car, but he likes something different. He's having a very good house, very good bungalows. Everything is good, but he will always think that others are enjoying more, and that is why he's feeling that he's not happy. That happiness you can't bring to the Rahu people. That is why we call it as a incomplete desire is a Rahu. Here connection with the Gemini sign is also Cancer sign, Karka Rasi is also very important, because the watery sign with the airy planets is also creating the bubbles. That is why we call it the bubbles. So here what happens that the Rahu cannot settle into the watery sign, in any of a watery sign. This is a merely a entry to the moksha sign, as you mentioned. That is the last trikon for the moksha trikon. This is entry. So here what happens, even though he has everything, he does not able to enjoy it. And there what the moksha, what the release, what the tyag, what we call as a sacrament, it start with the Rahu. So Rahu in the fourth house means first you have to leave your birthplace. And many time it happens, then person may be born to some native, some place, and now brought up to new place. Born and brought up. He brought up to the new place, and due to his Rahu in the fourth house, entire family has to move. Some incidents happens that the entire family has to migrate from his origin place to the new place. In India, there is a custom that the first child always born with the mother side. That is because fourth house is a moon. So here what happens that you break the maternal family and then only you rise. This is a house for the car. The people itself dash their car. Sometimes you know that unconsciously also people do the accident. This happens when the Rahu in the fourth house or Rahu with the Venus. They themselves, they don't like their car, so they just dash, so that the insurance company give them a compensation and they're able to purchase a new car. So see, this is an unconventional way of a Rahu what we are learning. House-wise also, it many times happens that in front of your home there is an open field, there is nobody staying, or you are staying near to the cemetery, you are staying with the burial house. So it also happens with the Rahu where no people approach where you are living. There are so many people who like isolation. They stay into the cage. They stay into the place where there is no very less access. This is a Rahu in the fourth house. So having all the material pleasure, having all these things, but seeing for something better, seeing for the something which gives them satisfaction. But that satisfaction, that pleasure, that things cannot be brought. Considering the Cancer sign, it spoiled the Cancer sign. So whatever your relation with the mother, your own emotion, it dry up the own emotion. Often we see the Rahu in the fourth house for their pleasure, for their comfort. They go to the extent and they harm the people. So that sometimes also happens with the Rahu in the fourth house. We should do not name certain people because people know who they are. So this is a Rahu in the Cancer where it is not been favorable. Their emotion dry up. As I told you that a watery sign contains with the airy planet, it always make the bubbles. It cannot settle. The air bubbles cannot be settled into the water sign. So it is always creating the bubbles, doubts. So here the Cancer moon, that Cancer Rahu, or if you are not so lucky, your moon is also in the Cancer and Rahu is there. Here there is a triangle happens that Rahu is simultaneously spoiling the Cancer sign as well as its dispositor moon also. So totally dry. I seen that totally dry with the mother also. Maybe they have a stepmother, and because of that, their emotion dry up. It also may happen that they are not been taken care by their genetic parents or genetic mother, particularly, and they will be adopted by someone. And that adopted mother is not taking good care of the child, and because of this person's all the feelings has dry up when the Rahu in the Cancer sign. So Rahu in the Cancer sign, as I told you, is a mother earth and Mother Earth being poisonized by the Rahu. So whatever things are there, whatever the emotions, whatever the feelings, whatever the pleasure hides inside this is very become a negative. One more thing in the fourth house we see, or rather I see, is sleep. Today's the biggest pleasure is the sleep, which many people doesn't get. So sleep or sleeplessness is a fourth house because the fourth house timing also mentioned is a midnight 12 to 2 hours where the maximum people get to the sleep. Only the people who are working at the night shift, they are not doing the sleeping during that period. But 12 to 2 is a process whereby you go to the trance, and 2 to 4 is the third house, is the sun direction. 2 to 4 is the third house, you were literally reach to the trance. And how it is judged, you get a dream. Third house is a house of dream also. So that dream you start, your subconscious mind started with the dreams. So here the fourth house Rahu means your sleep is somewhere disturbed. When you are about to sleep, you got something in the mind, and now you have to get up and to do. Until and unless you don't do certain act to that act, you will not get a sound sleep. So this is also spoiling your sleep also. Rahu, while spoiling the pleasure of the fourth house, the main pleasure is the emotion, main pleasure is the mood, and main pleasure is the sleep. When you get a sound sleep, this is nothing but a good health, good wealth, everything you get a balance when you get a sound sleep. So sleep is also being considered from the fourth house. And today's era, the sleep is the best pleasure I have seen. Material pleasure don't sustain for long term, but this is a kind of a pleasure which people are behind it. People do the meditation, people eat the sleeping pills to get a sleep, but they don't get, being a Rahu in the fourth house, or it is being aspected to the moon. If Rahu is aspected to the moon, or anywhere the Rahu is aspecting the fourth house, you are very well activated during the night time, and in the daytime you are not have a say. So this moon, with the moon also, it is not been conventional. With the Cancer sign, it may spoil emotion, drive the emotion, and with the fourth house, having all the pleasure but not enjoying pleasure. So best thing to enjoy the pleasure, as I told you, that Rahu gives only one option: either enjoy the pleasure or either change the place. Once you change the place, when you distance from your motherland, when you distance from your mother, your home, then that is the best position where you will be able to enjoy the things. So these are the enjoyment of a house of enjoyment where Rahu is not allowing you to enjoy. And because of this enjoyment, you are not getting, you are taking birth after birth, because your seeking of a pleasure is not ended. And due to which you have to take again and again birth. So these are the not a good place for the Rahu to sit to spoil your the pleasure. So only remedy is that to leave your place, leave the all the pleasure object which has been inheritance to you. If you leave everything and you build something by your own, then at least you get some peaceful peace in your life. So this is all about the Cancer, whether it's a fourth house or whether it is connected with the moon. I had described the certain part of the Rahu, and I hope you also agree with this and maybe adding something to it.
Yes, we both seem to concur that although not traditionally debilitated, seems to act debilitated at times. And there is this also vibration because the fourth house is the Kundalini axis, and Rahu is in that sign of the moon, Cancer, or the house of the moon, fourth house. It does create a lot of strong intuitive energy, right? So Rahu in the fourth house, Rahu in the Cancer
Right,
natives can be
right,
very intuitive, but their
mm,
intuition is also connected to the fear. So
right,
they're intuitive about something that they're afraid of. So they think car accident will happen. So maybe they have
mm,
ability to see negative events before they happen. Like this is a city of Rahu and Cancer. If you are a very spiritual person,
mm,
you can kind of use your intuition to see, oh, this kind of
mm,
trouble will come for this person or this accident or this situation. And
mm.
how may I save them? Because the Kundalini
Right.
axis of the Rahu being in the
Yeah.
Kendra, very strong for the intuition. Now,
Mm.
moving on to discuss fifth house and Leo positionship of Rahu. When you look at
Yes.
Rahu in the fifth house, we're going back into Dharma vibration. So through the first four houses, we did Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, and now we're back at Dharma again. And Rahu is positioned
Right.
itself in Dharmic vibration house. Now, this is house of education, and this is house of progeny or offspring. So there are lots of karmas that get activated here. Now, from perspective of education, Rahu in the fifth house does not like the traditional education. This
Mm.
means when it comes to learning, they are what they would call now being on the spectrum. Not that you have autism or not that you have Asperger, but you're somewhere upon this spectrum. This can be something of Rahu in the fifth house, Rahu in the Leo
Right.
vibration. And this
Mm.
means that the way that you learn is not the traditional way that people will learn. That means when it comes to the school, elementary school, high school, college, we get to the ninth
Mhm.
house for post-college education. But when we talk about the
Yeah.
earlier education, like kindergarten, middle school, high school, we look at fifth house. And we see that they will perform well in classes that they have much interest in, and they can actually really impress the teacher in these classes
Mhm.
and show them unique things. certain people with Rahu in the 5th house, if they love the topic of the class, they can even teach the class something as well. They can even teach the teacher
Right.
something. But
Right.
if someone with Rahu in the 5th house does not care for the topic, they will do very poorly in the education of it. They will not be able to learn it. They will get a grade D or a grade F in the school in the class. They will struggle to pass the class. They will struggle to pass the testings. They will struggle to do the homework. But if Rahu is in a good position here, they can do very well in education, especially when it comes to technology, when it comes to the future, and also mystical, occult, esoteric. So we got Ayurveda, Jyotish, Vastu, palmistry, all of these things which are connected to the Rahu energy. And we also know 5th house is house of spiritual techniques. It's the house of the Bhakti yoga. So you take that Rahu vibration and you put it in this house of Bhakti, and these people can be kirtan singer. This is where creative energy comes from. These people can chant Hare Krishna, Om Namah Shivaya, Jai Radhe, Om Ganganapate Namaha, and they sing and they dance, and then they have prasad after, and it's a beautiful ceremony. I don't know if the viewers have been to a kirtan before, but if you haven't, I would suggest to attend one. It is one of the most fantastic experiences. But yes, this is a strong Rahu in the 5th house vibration. Maybe they love the chanting. Maybe they love the pranayama. Maybe they have strong meditation practice. So those are positive things. But we talk about that if the class they're taking, they don't think is important, then they will have very hard time to pass the class. They will have very hard time to do well in the class. Now, also 5th house is strong house of offspring. So I've seen very, very often that people with Rahu in the 5th house have their child by the surprise. That means that when they have the child, they're not planning, oh, I want to have child right now with my husband. I want to have child now with my wife. Actually, that means that they are probably not being too protection against having child, and then all of a sudden the woman, she end up pregnant. So sometimes Rahu in 5th house, it can bring strong surprise energy to the pregnancy, to the fertility, to the child. So this means that child is more likely to happen by the surprise than it is to happen if you put all of your energy and to focus on it. Because with Rahu, if you want something so crave it so bad, and Rahu is in difficult position, it make it hard for us to obtain this. So if Rahu is in the 5th house and it's in difficult aspect or difficult position, you can keep trying to have child. I want to have child. I desire to have child. All I can think about is to have child. But male has fertility problem. Woman has fertility problem. Maybe they're doing these infusions now with the embryo, and they're doing all sorts of alternative ways to try to get the woman pregnant because she is having traditional fertility problem.
Yeah.
So, but as far as the personality of the child with Rahu in the 5th house, they'll be very interesting individual. They'll be very unique. They'll be innovator. They'll be creative. So I like Rahu in the 5th house as far as being drawn towards Jyotish, Ayurveda, pranayama, more mystical education, and but I don't like Rahu's position in the 5th house because it could be sometimes difficult in having a child too early. So you can see like teenage pregnancy and things like this sometimes, or people getting having child when they do not want to, when they are not prepared to financially. So this is something that must be considered. Now, when you look at Rahu and Leo, this is a very interesting position shift for Rahu, because just like how Rahu has an eclipse on moon, Rahu also eat up the sun. And in many pictures and depictions of Rahu, you can literally see him chewing upon the sun. So because of this energy, Rahu and Leo has some positive potential, but as we know, Leo is ruled by the sun, and the sun represents our healthy ego. And
Right.
Rahu can also have to do with the ego, but generally, unless you have a strong spiritual practice, is the unhealthy ego. So it makes the Rahu in the Leo sign more potential to have the unhealthy ego and more potential to be care too much about your own power, care too much about your own success. People with Rahu and Leo, they are karma to be leader. And that means they will react negatively to other leaders. They will react negatively to the authority. They will react negatively to the police. But they may become the authority. They may become the police. But them themselves will react negatively to any power, to any authority. And that includes the father, which is also represented by the sun as well. So as the Rahu in Cancer in 4th house has difficult relationship with mother, when Rahu is in Leo, we can sometimes see the depositor of the sun and see, oh, well, maybe there's a difficult or challenged relationship with the father here. But the Rahu in Leo, it gives great power. It gives great strength. And Rahu and the Leo people, they can be very, very intense, independent. And they do not like to be influenced by the other people. And they like to remain focused on what is important to them. And they don't like to be told what to do. And they don't like to be told how to do it. But because Rahu is in that sun sign and is in the position of Leo, it can give the person leadership potential in certain unique areas. So, like, if they try to go within traditional society, maybe they struggle to become leader. But if they do something which is outside of society, or they travel international and go to do something, much more indication that they could become leader. So Rahu and Leo, they could become great astrologer, they could become great Ayurveda teacher. And you see in the beginning of Leo, you got Maga, then you got Purva Falguni. So you have Ketu, Venus coming in and interacting with that Rahu vibration, which is going to be very intense in terms of Maga representing our ancestral power. Leading into the Falguni, which is going to relate to our karma with our romance and relationship. So the Rahu and Leo position, it's not my favorite position for Rahu because of Rahu's relationship with the sun being strong enemy relationship. But Rahu in the 5th house isn't always negative. It has positive attributes. Like you can be well educated in these alternative things and you can actually have many children. Other things I've seen with Rahu in the 5th house, they like to adopt the child. And they like to adopt the child from another country. So for example, take a look at Brad Pitt's chart. And he has Rahu in 5th house. I believe it's he has Rahu in 5th house. I'm trying to remember what sign it's in. But he adopt many child from Asia. He adopt child from Middle East. He adopt child from Africa. He adopt child from all over the world. And with his wife Angelina Jolie at the time. So there is this energy of also being open to possibly, this is a house of romance. So you can be open to having a romantic relationship with someone of a different race, someone of a different religion, someone of a different culture, and you may have child with this person. So it also shows the potential for religious, racial relationships and marriages, and it sets that energy up very nicely to have a child of mixed race. So this is also something which you can see common Rahu 5th house positionship. But yes, it's both the 5th house and Leo position aren't my favorite position for Rahu, but I like the trine, I like the 5th house, and I like the unique way education manifests when Rahu is in the fifth house. But I worry when Rahu is in Leo that the person keep their ego in control, keep their ego in lock. And I am curious what you have to say on this, Dr. Dharmesh. I hope this was interesting for the viewers.
Yeah, yeah. For the viewers, it's like two extreme poles, one in the east and you are in the west. So it's a combination of east and west. Because you see, the planets are same. Only the prospect of the view what we possess from the east people to the west people. This is are the unique things we have. Rahu in the fifth house we are talking about. What happens because the fifth house basically for the past life, that we should not forget that it's a past life connection, how you being connected to your past. And since the inception, since the inception, whatever the deeds the one native does, this all carries in the fifth house. I i always believe fifth house is a house of storage. I always say it's a storeroom. It's a storeroom where your foods, whatever you eat, it's stored by the fifth house. Whatever the deeds you perform, it is stored in your fifth. Whatever the child, whatever the generation you are going to have in the future, that is stored also in the fifth house. So fifth house is nothing but the deeds which you have already been done in the previous birth, but due to the Rahu in the fifth house, it cannot filter. And that is why in the many texts it says that Rahu in fifth house, you have somewhere disconnected. You being somewhere disconnected from your own origin. It's not a pitru. Here in the East, people call as a pitru, means the ancestor. It's not an ancestor of your own. You being an ancestor of somebody's. Because in past life, you are ancestor of somebody. In that past life, in that past life, even though you are in the human existence or not, even in the animal existence you are done perform some deeds, that all deeds has been kept in the fifth house. So fifth house Rahu means hiding, not supporting, clouding the deeds which you have performed in the past life. So that negative things you can see in the fifth house Rahu, that they are not been guided by their own deeds they have performed from the past life or past lives. So many lives from the inception, whatever the life, whatever the deeds they have performed, that has not been realizing by fifth house. And that is why they are getting some problem in progeny also. For childbirth, you say either maybe early birth, surprise birth, or sometime it happens there are a lot of a uh, what do you say? There are a lot of a complication because of which the person cannot get a childbirth. So that also happened when the Rahu is there, because those who are connected with you in the past life, you are having disconnected with them, and because of the disconnected to the them, this is a way where you are not able to connect with them. So this is a very very important position for the Rahu. And for progeny, obviously it will be having some difficulties of getting pregnant to the female, and also there is some problem in the male to not getting the child. So for child also it is not good things. In love affection, what happens when you are in deep love? When person are in the deep love, the fifth house has to be judged. And when Rahu is there, again you will be involving so many issues in your love life, because you are not identifying that she or he is the right person to whom you have met in the early life, in the past life, and he and she is the only right person to whom you have to marry. They often break up with the love and affairs, and there are a lot of breakup in the love affair happens, as like a lot of during the child progeny also a lot of miscarriage happens. Likewise they in their marriage, in their love life also there are a lot of breakup they face during their life. So about the progeny, not so powerful. About the love affairs, not powerful. They decide to study something. I want to become doctor, but they cannot pursue the doctor medical line, and ultimately they turn into certain line which has not been think by them, but now they are possessing. There are a lot of people you will see that they studied something else, and now performing something else. The people with the artistic knowledge or artistic inbuilt, they are performing certain theoretical work. The theoretical liking people, history lover people are presently doing something different. So this is also obstructing your career wise, also your basic education also being affected with this. So this is very important for the fifth house. I never been considered fifth house Rahu being a good place for the Rahu, because in the education, higher education, you may deviated from the line which you are supposed to think from the beginning. From the childhood, you want to become doctor, engineer, or some particular line, but you cannot able to perform. That is a Rahu's effect in the fifth house, and you may be end up with something differently. Love affair also I have seen. See, Rahu basically is a complex. We know there are the two complex, superiority complex and inferiority complex. The Rahu is possessing with the superiority complex, and Ketu is possessing the inferior complex. What happens when the Rahu in the Leo sign? See, Leo itself has the inbuilt ego, being a sun, being a highly bright planet. It's already having a lot of issue, lot of ego, lot of domination. And when Rahu enter in the Leo sign, it's a superior to superior complex the person feel. He feel himself as a king. He feel himself as like a very powerful person of the earth. And because of that misunderstanding of his own deeds, with his own effect, he is performing so negativity, and that will result into the negativity. So Leo sign is also again not favorable, as you mentioned that it's eclipse the sun. And here also it's a primary ego. The Leo sign itself possesses the ego, and Rahu possesses the superiority complex. They don't think anything in front of them. So that superiority complex as well as the sun boost from inside, that is clashing. So ego clash with the superiority complex, and that generates something unconventional thing which even we can't think about it. So that kind of a certain negative spark, we can say it's a spark only, that it sparks something. And being it's a Leo as a fiery sign, you will always often see that kind of a spark, that kind of a burning sensation, that kind of a fire, agitation, having the people in the Leo Rahu. So Leo Rahu, they are a dominator, they are a ruler, they are a politician, but with a lot of ego, lot of complex, and that complex, that ego itself will make them buried. Not good for the sign fifth house. The digestion system, because the fifth house is also our stomach, liver portion, and a large intestine where the Rahu is playing its thing. Being a second house Rahu, where you are not able to know your taste. Here in the fifth house Rahu, you are not aware about the things what you possess, what you have insidely. The digestion is also being spoiled because continuously you are putting certain foods which are not able to digest by your own immunity system. You are challenging your inner system also. Many times people feel the face that their liver fail, their intestine not work, their digestive organ are very slow. That's a Rahu in fifth house. Because a lot of gases are created by the Rahu in the fifth house, which is not giving their health good. And whatever the food they eat, they consume, that does not turn into the vitamin, iron, calcium, and all these things which is necessity for the life. That also affect the first house, because Rahu is aspecting the first house, 11th house, and the seventh, fifth aspect to the ninth house. It also spoil your past life deeds, presently also first house, and also spoiling your next deed, that's the ninth house also. Ultimately, fifth house Rahu is only and only suitable to the sportsman, because fifth house is the sports also, sports activity also we seen from the fifth house. So whatever the person are into the sports activity, they are much benefited with the Rahu in fifth house. So maybe they are not good with the deeds, maybe they are not good with the child, maybe they are not good with the all love affair everything, but they are good into the sports spirit. And in sports, you need to be having the ego. You need to be having a complex. You think that you are better than your opponent, and that superior complex, that egoistic things may win them, may give them, may feed them a kind of energy they require. So for only the sports spirit person or the who's involved into the sports activity, they have a good Rahu in the fifth house. Otherwise, rest, I don't believe that Rahu, because it cuts the deeds which you have performed in the past life, since the inception, that you are not able to see, you are not able to realize whatever the good deeds you have performed. You may be a saint in the past life, but in this life you are performing certain acts which will spoil the deeds, the good deeds you have brought from the past life. And Leo, already I say that is an inbuilt ego with sun, and where Rahu is a complex, superior complex. So that spark, and because of the Rahu in the Leo sign, it's not allowing the person to get a name, fame, and recognition. And even though they got the name, fame, and recognition, they might be, they are the only person who spoil their own name. It's not a public, not a media, or not a other third person, third party who spoil. They themselves spoil their name. So this is a negative aspect of the Rahu. The good aspect is only being a Ketu, as same like a Aries. Here also Magha with the Ketu, and Purva Falguni with the Venus is supporting somewhat the Rahu in the Leo sign. And because of these two nakshatras, at least Rahu got settled, some boost with the Rahu into the Leo sign. But highly ego when it is a matter of Uttar Falguni, where the sun itself inbuilt, sun sign is also there, where the Rahu is a complex. That complex will be cut with the higher authority, superior soul, or maybe their children will break their record of fathers, and where their ego will reduce. So that kind of a rival, that kind of a competitor you yourself are producing. Or sometimes it happens that the disciples are there who break their own records of a guru. So that also maybe happen in the fifth house, because fifth house is not only a children, your disciple also comes from the fifth house, where you teach them, where you make them, and they themselves, they only break your own record, your own ego, your own complex. So this way, this Rahu in the Leo sign, not so favorable for clashing of a ego and complex, as well as it is not good for the fifth house, where everything is ready. See, fifth house is nothing but the storeroom. Whatever you want, whatever you wish, you can take it from the fifth house. But due to the Rahu in this house, people are afraid of going that house, and they cannot enjoy the good deeds they have done in the past life. So that is why in that context only I say that it's not been favorable, and ego and complex cannot stay together. So sun and Rahu, that is why it's always a Rahu wins of the complex, and the ego has to be not down. So these are the aspect of the Rahu in the Leo, Rahu in the fifth house, and some connection with the Rahu and the sun. So hope you also uh, can add more things, and you also being like to share something.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Dharmesh. That was very comprehensive analysis. Um, one thing that I really appreciate that you pointed out is that the fifth house has this past lifetime karmic connection. And so when
Yes,
Rahu has this fifth house position, that's a lot of karma coming
yes,
from our past lifetimes, and we must complete that karma in this lifetime. And because the fifth
yes,
house is the house of having children, it might show in the past lifetime the native not have children. In this lifetime,
yeah,
they have strong karma to have the children, but still
yeah,
they have difficulty in the fertility, as we discussed. Maybe the child happened by surprise, but that is because as a soul, they might not be used to what it is to give birth. They may not be used to what it is to have child, to become parent. Um,
right,
so it could be new experience for them from soul perspective. And moving on, we discussed the sixth house, and this will be the conclusion of our part 1. We'll discuss the seventh house through the 12th house and Libra through Pisces in part 2. But right now
right,
we are going to discuss the sixth house and Virgo positioning of Rahu. And again,
Right.
no one really considers Rahu to be exalted in the Virgo, but some people have considered Rahu to be considered Virgo to be one of Rahu's natural sign. So I have heard that Rahu is in Kanya sometimes to be considered the natural sign of the Rahu. Now, I personally think it's Aquarius, Kumbha, but that's, again, we talk about dignity falls outside of its regular rules when it comes to Rahu and Ketu. Now, when you look at the sixth house, we find a rule that you commonly find in Jyotish, which is when a malefic planet or a planet which is traditionally said to have a difficult effect finds itself in the sixth house, the eighth house, or the 12th house, that malefic planet finds some comfort in that malefic house. So there is this energy of Rahu saying, okay, I like the sixth house because of its malefic vibration. And you notice that immediately Ketu aspecting 12th house. And Ketu is Moksha Karaka. And 12th house is Moksha Bhava. So the sixth house, for those that have that sixth house, 12th house, Rahu Ketu access, that's the house of work, the sixth house. That's the house of service. That's an Artabhava house, a house where money needs to be made.
Right.
So that's what keeps those people with Ketu in the 12th house grounded, because otherwise Ketu and 12th house people, they live in other reality. They live in other dimension. They live in other world. They want to live in ashram. They want to live in a communal society. But the Rahu in the sixth house makes them have job. It means that they will have to work. It means that they will have some material karma in this lifetime that will help keep them grounded. So it's the balance between the material and the spiritual world. And so I like the Rahu in the sixth house position. Also, sixth house, like third house, Upachaya. So we have self-improvement evolution energies. Rahu doesn't normally like to grow, but when Rahu is in the sixth house, it helps push the Rahu for growth. So again, also Rahu can be selfish, but the sixth house is a house of service. So Rahu in the sixth house pushes Rahu to less selfish energy, more selfless, more seva, service-oriented energies. So that's also a positive thing for Rahu. Now, difficult energy about Rahu in the sixth house. We all know sixth house is house of enemies. And Rahu is smoke, deception, confusion, that which may be hidden. So this means that we can have hidden enemies. And whenever Rahu or Ketu in the sixth house, we have these hidden enemies. And it's deception that you're looking at for Rahu in the sixth house. So that means the person come up to you, oh, Jerry, how are you doing? It's so good to you. It's so good to see you, my good friend. And gives you a big hug. And then you turn around and go the other way and you hear whispering. And the person is whispering poorly about you. They are saying negative things about you. They are seeing things against your character. They are saying things against your personality. So it's kind of a vibration where to your face, the person smiles, but then they turn their back and they speak poorly upon you. So this is a difficult position for enemies, especially when it comes to colleagues and coworkers and things like that, people that you work with. But if it's in good position, it can show that you can have a very good and unusual relationship with your coworkers. They say, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. So a strong remedial measure with Rahu in the sixth house, if you notice competition, a competitive energy between you and a colleague or coworker, you want to work together. You want to collaborate. You want to combine your efforts so that the enemy energy is removed, so that the competitive energy is removed. Because instead of being enemy, now you have combined, unified effort. So there's nothing better the Rahu in the sixth house, even though you may deal with difficulty with your coworkers, certain secret enemies, making them your friends and combining your efforts with them. And even though they may not appreciate you at first, still being understanding, it's a very good energy in the sixth house energy of Rahu. Now, when you look at Rahu and Virgo, it's entering the energy of Mercury because Kanya is rulership of Buddha. And
Right.
Rahu and Buddha, some say are friends, some say are neutral, but no, very rarely do you hear them say they're enemy. So Rahu and Buddha, they're not enemy. And there is this energy of the Rahu in the Virgo being very intelligent. The Rahu in Virgo energy is very intelligent, very discerning, very understanding, and it likes the mystical, it likes the occult, it likes all the things which are outside of the box, but it wants to understand them logically because Virgo and Kanya has that logical buddhi, Mercury energy. So it's a very unique combination of understanding something mystically, but understanding something intellectually at the same time. We can use a good example of this when we look at Jyotish, because in Jyotish, we talk about past lifetimes, future lifetimes, and the cycle of the soul, which is very metaphysical. This can be associated more with Rahu, but we also talk about mathematics, calculations, positions.
Okay.
And this is logical. This is more Mercury related. So usually people with Rahu and Virgo, if it's in a good position, they could be very good astrologer. They could be very good study of another culture's sciences. They could be basically
Researcher.
a researcher, archaeologist, someone who travels around the world experiencing and studying the cultures of different people. And so I like Rahu's position in the sixth house, and I like Rahu's position in the Virgo. But because the sixth house has that enemy vibration, sometimes people do not know with Rahu in the sixth house who is my enemy and who is my friend. So I'll just offer a last little bit of remedial advice to those people with the Rahu in the sixth house position. And an enemy is not always someone who hates you or is violent towards you or is against you. But it just means that they do not have your best interest in their heart. They have more selfish interest. So it's important to understand that if you have Rahu in the sixth house position, it's not necessarily that your enemy is someone out to get you.
Right.
But just someone who is selfish and doesn't have your best interest at heart. So those are the kind of people, then you see that K2 in the 12th house, and you want to eliminate those people from your lifetime. You want to not pay attention to those people because they are not supporting you. So again, understanding that, is this person in my life, do they care about my happiness? Do they care about my health? And if the person in your life does not care about your happiness and your health, then the K2 in the 12th house says that they should not be in your life.
Right.
So that's a little bit of Rahu in sixth house, Rahu in Virgo. I have loved discussing this topic. I cannot wait to discuss the second part and the second half of Rahu's positions with Dr. Dharmesh. And I look forward to hearing what you have to say about Rahu's positionship in Virgo and sixth house as well.
Yeah, very well defined, Kṣaṇāti, and your prospect is always a broader prospect where you include everything. So it's my work is only to add some toppings on that so that the pizza get ready. So here it's Rahu in the sixth house, a very beautiful position, but it is the least position for Rahu to be seated. As I discussed earlier, it's a third house, 11th house, 10th house, and then sixth house are the favorable house for the Rahu to be get settled. Why he being restricted to the sixth house? Because sixth house, whatever you generate, whatever the result being generated is not for the mankind. It's nowhere favorable to you. Like, it gives a disease. This is a basically house of disease, we all know. It doesn't give the symptoms. It doesn't give the symptoms. And in second stage, in third stage, in last stage, the diagnosis happens because it cover up the disease. It cover up the germs, or it cover up the cause of the disease, and because of which you will not able to know till the it spread whole body. And that is why we believe that the cancer is basically for the cancer sign and the Rahu, which spread everything. So not good for the disease purpose, and all the infection is with help of a Rahu only. Wherever we feel, wherever we see that the infected people, as now we all face worldwide the coronavirus virus, there's also an infection which is being with the Rahu. So Rahu in sixth house does not give you a symptoms. Rahu like to do something unconventional which you are not been aware about it. So with the enemies, what kind of enemies they have, they don't know. What to use the enemy to defeat, they also don't know the technique. Rahu in sixth house, and they think, as I say you in the fifth house, that Rahu is a complex. They got a complex that nobody can harm them, and this is the way they are creating enemy within them. It's not the outsider who's enemy for him. That is his own nature, is his own complex is creating the enemies. This also a house of a conspiracy. We always say that's a house of conspiracy. In conspiracy also the Rahu plays a very vital role, because just small thing you have to just spread into the mass, and people will start believing it. So rumors also being in the sixth house, conspiracy also being in the sixth house, this all being spread by this house, that also create the enemies inbuilt. They don't have to go out and search the enemies. They are themselves creating the enemies insidely. So we discuss about the disease not been diagnosed. We have discussed about the enemy that has inbuilt, not going to somewhere else to find the enemies. We are thinking about the conspiracy. Our main major part is also litigation. Litigation also comes from the sixth house. So here also in litigation also, they are not trying to settle down amicably. They came into the complex, no, we only win. Sometimes advocate also gives them a wrong advice that because they have some vested interest, they say, no, we'll fight till end, we fight till end, and this will never end. And they are creating so many enemies within. So this for the litigation also, the Rahu in sixth house is not a, because you want to produce something unconventional which the court, a litigant cannot believe, and by which you are just prolonged and stretching the litigation. So stretching of disease, stretching of enmity, stretching of the litigation, these all are the core product of a Rahu in the sixth house. What good it can give here is a best service. Only the best service you can acquire from the Rahu in this house, because here it is allowing them to do the maximum use of its own potential. They are a good service provider. What you are demanded, you will get better than the what you are expected. So Rahu in the sixth house, good in the service. You don't have to direct them that do this work, this will be your next assignment. No, they know, and they produce, they do the things with their own ability. Only the service part of this is a good for the Rahu, and because of the service, they are somewhat settle the Rahu in the sixth house. Here the Rahu have a scope. What the scope Rahu have in this sixth house is the Rahu have a scope here to being serving the nation, serving the people, serving the society, by which they always being remembered. And that is why the moksha has been happened, because they pay back them. They pay back all the deeds to the others by serving, by mode of a serving, so that there's nothing left behind, and they get a moksha in their present life. So such a kind of a different or dimensional wise opposite result you may find in the Rahu in sixth house. Talking about the Rahu in the Virgo, is a very smooth and smoothing sign for it. As like a Taurus we have spoke, Here also it is insidely the sun, moon and Mars. All three are the bitter enemy for the Rahu. Only the good supporter, only the good supporter is Mercury. Because the conscious mind always have a logic to believe there is a subconscious mind, whereas our subconscious mind never have a belief that there is some reasoning behind the act, there is some logic behind act. So it doesn't, it denied the Mercury stage. The Rahu always denied the Mercury stage, but Mercury always go to the Rahu and gives a good result. So here it will be a good sign for the native to have a Rahu in the Virgo sign, whereas he will be getting a very good result inbuilt. Those having a Rahu in the Virgo sign, it's also called as a friendly sign. It's also called as its own sign, where the Rahu get a potential to give their subconscious mind a good platform. Because logically they can explain, they can understand. And Virgo sign is also a service oriented, where Rahu wish to serve something different. So here in Virgo, it has, even though it is internally being enemy with the Sun, Moon, and Mars nakshatra, it is being not accepted in the Virgo sign. But due to the friendship with the Mercury to the Rahu, it's giving a very warm welcome to the Rahu in the Virgo sign. So Rahu in the Virgo sign, I have seen that whenever the Rahu comes in the Virgo sign, unconventional method of a trade, commerce, and communication developed. See, presently also there are communication wise, there are a lot of improvement has made in this era. The 5G is coming into the world, the fastest mode of a communication. So that is a Rahu in the Gemini sign of a communication. As like Virgo sign also gives too much potential to the Rahu to grow its logically. So when the Rahu is in the Virgo sign, people speak something which is, at least we come to the understand some logical things. Whereas in the other sign, apart from the Gemini and apart from the Virgo, wherever Rahu speak, people don't believe. See, at the first instant when somebody spoke that one can be talk to the person to the distance, people don't believe. And now today we are seeing each other with so much far miles. So this is all the unconventional thing will be joining with the Rahu with the Virgo sign. Those having a good Rahu with the Virgo sign, it's also applied to the Scorpio. When we go to the second part in the Scorpio also, is a R&D sign. And Virgo is also a kind of a R&D, research and development sign, where the person can been involved into the kind of a research which nobody has been taught, where illogical mind supersedes the logical mind. That's the situation where the Rahu plays in the Virgo sign. And with the Mercury, obviously it is a very good sign, a very good relationship. See, Mercury belongs to our memory. Not only memory, it's a gray matter where our all the memory reside. Under our brain there are so many halls, so many partitions where our memory lies. So that memory lies with some fluid which called as a gray matter. That's a Mercury. And what you instantly remember, the connectivity. When I see you, I get some connection. I see some person, some things, I get some connection. I have seen this is this kind of a thing. That is a connection of a Rahu to your memory. Instant memory will be pop up, and you will come to know, yeah, this is that kind of a thing that belongs to highest degree with the Rahu in the Virgo sign, or Rahu with the Mercury. Conventional, non-conventional, both the way you may make people understand and do your work. It's a sign of business. I believe the Virgo sign is a sign of business. New way of transportation, new way of communication, new way of transportation, business, trade also may happens when the Rahu in the this all online marketing. Nobody has thought that somebody is sitting here and somebody is asking something from the so miles, and it reach safely to their home. So this kind of a unconventional online business, online trade, commerce also being a Rahu in the Virgos and be possible. So Rahu, I don't have any object with the sixth sign, sixth house. a Virgo sign and Mercury, it create the balance with all these things, and at least try to develop something bigger, something good, what it have a position or potential. So these are the some feedback to the Rahu in the sixth house, Virgo and Mercury. So you may also some add something, and we may conclude with here.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Dharmesh. I love your elaboration. One
Yes,
thing I really appreciate is that you discussed the health factor. And we are
yes,
reminded that sixth house is house of Vikriti, which in
yes,
Ayurveda is the first three stages of disease: Sanchay, Prakop, and Prasar. And one
yeah,
thing that Dr. Dharmesh mentioned is that sometimes the disease goes unnoticed when Rahu is in the sixth house. That's because it's in the early stages. Then it shall move to
yes,
the eighth house or the 12th house when it will enter its later stages of its disease.
right.
But Rahu keeps us, God bless you. But Rahu sees us from seeing the earlier stages of the disease until its later manifestations. So a disease can remain somewhat hidden from us at certain times during our life because of Rahu in the sixth house, or the disease may be hard to diagnose, or the doctor may not get it right. And that's because, remember, Rahu mainly a Vata planet. Rahu in the sixth house is bad for the Vata in the health of the person. And I hope everyone enjoyed Dr. Dharmesh, everyone of DM Astrology and Kṣaṇāti Jyotish channels. Enjoy our collaboration. We are very excited to be together again. And I hope you are looking forward to part 2 of our discussion on Rahu. And then also very excited in April, we have Dasha Summit discussing. Dr. Dharmesh will be doing 2 very exciting topics. And we'll be joined by Sunili and Dr. Pai and Sam Jeppy, and it will be a wonderful collaborative effort with all of us. And so thank you to the beloved astrological community. Thank you to Dr. Dharmesh and the viewers of DM Astrology. And Om Namah Shivaya. Jai Jai Mahadeva. Namaste, sir.